show your face. Show your face, please, with sugar on top.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, most of you may know by now that West Coast Crip gang leader Big U, also affiliated at one point with Nipsey Hussle, has been arrested. Well, he hasn't been arrested, he turned himself in after a RICO indictment came out that included not just him, but other Rolling 60s gang members such as Brick Baby, and then you have Loose Cannon. I'm not sure if he's affiliated with the Crips, but he was one of the guys that was on No Jumper podcast, talking about things he did with Big U that was illegal, along with Whack 100. Which was the first red flag, but he participated in it, and it looks like it may have landed him in some trouble. Now, I told y'all before, it's kind of weird because we always see Whack 100 around Loose Cannon. We know that they always together. It seems like they both had some type of dealings with Big U, but somehow, some way, Whack 100 managed to escape. I don't know how, but he wasn't caught up in no RICO indictment, and a lot of people were saying that he allegedly told on Big U. Now, it's this one situation where in the paperwork or the RICO documents, it did state that at one point in time, Whack 100 was actually surrounded by affiliates of Big U, around 15 or 20 of them, and he almost lost his life right then and there. But the only reason why they didn't do anything to him is because he was with his wife and kids at the time, so they gave him a pass. A lot of people speculate that at that point, that's what had Whack 100 on his toes, and he had to get Big U off the streets for the simple fact that he was a threat, and he realized that he could actually catch up to him at any point in any time. And this is mainly because Big U was one of the big homies of his gang, and not only that, but he has a lot of influence out there on the West Coast streets. Now, when it comes to the whole Whack 100 snitched on Big U situation, Whack actually took the clubhouse and said that he's not the one that snitched, and he's not the problem here. It's two things that was the problem. One, Big U actually had an informant in his camp that he thought he could trust, but the guy was a civilian and he did exactly what any other civilian would do. But then two, the whole situation with the kid losing his life, it was DNA under the kid's fingernails that matched Big U's DNA, and he'd been running from the whole DNA test for the longest until it actually came back that the DNA belonged to him, and that's how they caught him up. So Whack 100 is saying, I got nothing to do with that. That's on you and your buffoonery. Don't blame me and don't try to bring me into it to make yourself look cool. Now, in regards to Big U going to jail, he kept telling the people, well, how did they know that I was going to jail? How did they know? It's because they put the boys on me, and they're the reason why I gotta turn myself in. But Whack 100 exposed that he actually talked to the family, the mother and the sister of the victim that lost his life in Las Vegas, and the mother told him personally on the phone not to tell anybody, but Big U was going to be locked up somewhere between at the ending of March or the beginning of April.
They're going to be making an arrest the ending of March, the beginning of April.
Got you. I'm going to sit back and watch the show. You know,
they basically going to put his case and Nipsey Hussle case together. Yes. The same person that the DNA that the lawyer for Nipsey Hussle is going to be doing my brother case too.
And well, that's what we seen here. Now on the flip side, we're going to talk about Meek Mill and Rick Ross being extorted by Big U and I guess the whole West Coast thing going on, because in the paperwork it says that he extorted RR and MM for $50,000 because MM, which is Meek Mill, was going to get unalived by the guys if he didn't pay, and I guess he didn't have the money on him, so he called Rick Ross to bring the money, and that's exactly what happened, and he was able to keep his life. Keep in mind all this is alleged, but it is in the paperwork that we're going to go over. But before we do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it. Now the documents will go on to say, quote, because he was going to make the dude give him $20 for getting it back. Williams then agreed. Of course he did that too. Two famous rappers. Williams then detailed demanding $50,000 from the celebrity rapper RR, or they will unalive the celebrity rapper MM. Williams then said RR dropped off the $50,000 and Henley stopped answering the phone and then did not share any of the proceeds with Williams. According to further No Jumper and Vlad TV segments, Henley then served a cease and desist order on No Jumper, and this podcast episode was removed from the platform, although a recording of the episode remained available elsewhere online. Williams recounted of this robbery occurred years after the robbery of Victim 1's dispensary and years after Victim 1 had already recounted and documented the robbery for the FBI. Now pay attention to what that just said. It just said Victim 1 had already recounted and documented the robbery for the FBI. So before we even get into Meek Mill and Rick Ross, y'all gotta understand, yes, Wack and them may have been saying too much on these podcasts because let's be clear here, he's not all the way out the red, because it did say in the paperwork that a lot of the information that they did gather came from podcasts and other online segments. This is why y'all rappers, please be careful when y'all get on these goddamn platforms, because they're gonna ask these questions and then when you answer them and indict yourself, they're gonna say, well, all I did was just ask a question. He didn't have to answer, but they know what they was doing when they asked the question in the first place. Is it right? Is it wrong? That's up to y'all. But here's what Wack is saying. Clearly there's an informant already in his camp. So it ain't just Wack, it ain't just Loose Cannon, it ain't just the other 600 guy or any of the other guys. This is also somebody that's telling on Big U and also letting it be known that they did robberies together and what happened. Now it's kind of crazy because if you pay attention, they said that he ordered a cease and desist letter to platforms such as Vlad TV and No Jumper, which means he didn't want it to get out there that he did such and such to Meek Mill and Rick Ross. But of course, as y'all know, whatever you put online, as soon as it go up, somebody done caught it. Now, here's the thing. If y'all remember back in the days, Detroit owned Trick, he had a similar thing going on as well where he called it a no-fly zone, meaning nobody could come to Detroit without checking in, and usually the check-in thing meant giving either some money or supporting the guys, or something happened to you. If y'all remember way back in the days, they said that Biggie came to Cali, or was it the Bay Area? Somewhere in the Bay Area. He came out there and he was about to lose his life until they called E40. And when they called E40, that's when E40 told him, no, he good, let him live. If he would have never made that call to E40, your boy Biggie probably wouldn't have been as big as we knew him to be. But the reason why I mention all that is because a lot of these guys, they have these things where they tell you, and it may not be publicized, but you know that in your area or in your hood, if y'all really rolling like that, you have this thing where people actually check in. Some people feel it's soft, some people feel it ain't, some people feel it's a respect thing. If you remember, Nipsey used to always say checking in is a respect thing. It's not about being soft, it's about going to somebody else's hood, trying to run all through it and think you could do that, and it's not okay. So you consult with the people who you need to consult with and make sure you're good, and you got no problems. But as y'all see in the paperwork, it did say that Meek Mill almost lost his life if he didn't give up the $50,000, and he didn't have it on him, so he had to hit up Rick Ross, and that's who brought it, and that's pretty much who saved his life. And that happens. A lot of these guys try to act like they tough. It's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that the fans and the public don't get to see. But a lot of these rappers, when they go to these other states and countries and stuff, they do get extorted, or they do end up getting robbed. You gotta remember, you in somebody else's territory. You see Cameron, he always tells stories about when he's in the UK, he almost lost his life. He had to get out of there. It happens, right? Or when Joel's went to the UK and he almost got himself Yeah. So it happens way more than we think. It just don't get publicized. Of course, no rapper's gonna come out and admit that they got robbed or want to tell the world because they gotta hold up the rapper image. We get it. And the people that did it don't want it to get out there neither because it's gonna mess up whatever they got going on. It is what it is, man. It's just funny how some of these rappers, they try to be like the toughest. But just remember, man, it can happen to anybody, no matter who you are. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm gonna keep on dropping. And I'm out.